Did you know that two people can actually grow up in same environment, same house, with the same parents, and later they end up becoming entirely two different individuals? That gets us to the question: does the background actually define who you become, or you actually have the right to rewrite your story? Hi everyone, welcome back to today's episode of DURA'S Voice podcast. I'm Ambassador Florence, your host for today, and I'm here with my very much insightful co-host Afro Debbie. Hi Afro Debbie.
Hi, Florence.
Okay. Um Debbie, when you hear the word background, what actually comes to your mind?
Hey, God, this topic is a very spicy one. That's why I'm on sunglasses. What comes to my mind is like these glasses at the front, the background is my eye. So, when you hear the word background, I think it's basically where you come from. Let me take this off. It's basically like wherever you come from. I think that's what your background is, where you, it must not be basically where you come from.
Okay, so for you, do you actually think that one's background has the right to put the person through in a particular kind of life, or that person has the right to become another person aside from what he or she learns at home?
I think everyone has, usually when you growing up, you grow up with a particular kind of character, a particular kind of behavior. So I think I strongly believe, not like a thought, it's what
Okay.
I strongly believe, that you can grow up from a background, but you're given the opportunity. I mean, as a child, you don't have a choice when you were a child to make certain decisions in your life. But I think the world is now very vast. There is much knowledge available to you as an adult now to make the right choices. So I think growing up, you might not really have that opportunity to make a choice for yourself because you're still living under your parents. But when you become an adult, you have the right, you have the right to, you already know what's right and wrong. So you have the right to choose between what's right and wrong.
So you're actually saying as a child you do not have any say.
Basically, unfortunately, that's the kind of environment most of us grew up in. Not like you don't have the environment I grew up in. You have a say, but most times you are still a child. So they they used to say that what your parents lie down saying, fly climb ahead. So most times it's not like you don't have a say, but they'll feel like you're not, you're still small now. What do you know? That's such a kind of thing. What do you know? So that's it.
Okay. Okay, for me, I would actually say yes, to some extent, our background influences us as humans or as
Yeah.
adults per se, but I'm also of the notion that says that you shouldn't allow it to imprison you or to
Yes.
cage you, that because your parents trained you in this particular way, and then growing up things have changed, the world is evolving, so it doesn't have to imprison you or make you say, oh, it's a must that you must go through this particular way to get this thing because your parents trained you in,
In
especially
that
when you see that
particular
that
way.
especially when you see that that line of action is not working or is a no-no
Yeah.
for you. Because seen I've seen a family, they were concentrated, like punk concentrated Muslims. But growing up, the boy, he grew up and then later transformed to a Christian. And then he was like, oh, that because his parents they are Muslims, that doesn't mean that him too he wants to be a Muslim, that he wants to be a Christian. And he fought through. He fought and he scaled through, and that's it. So for you, have you seen anyone that's ever diverted from the way he or she was taught while growing up? Or maybe if you have a personal experience, you can share with us.
I think I am always thinking. I strongly believe that most times they don't necessarily have to like sit you down to teach you these things. They are
Mm-hmm.
things that you learn subconsciously, you know. And I would narrow it down to it's also it also weighs people down. It's like, I think that's what they basically call like childhood trauma, because let's just put it in that sense, because the way you grew up, the kind of environment would either make, now for me, let me come down to myself. I grew up in an environment where, in different homes, there are different expressions of love.
Yeah.
There are people that expresses love. There are people that express love by, okay, everybody comes back to the house, you hug your parents, you hug
Parents,
your.
yeah. You
There are
say I
people
love you
that
to your kids.
that's a normal thing. There are people that those kind of things are not really the expressions of love. Expressions of love are like, they want to see you educated. They are more focused in that side. They want to see that you're morally okay. That's the kind of, and I'm grateful for that.
Mhm.
But growing up now, I don't know how to help people. That's what that has done now to me, because in that, when we used to do all those hugging was, okay, when you were very little, 3 years, when I used to run all those races, I will now win ahead that time. 7 years, basic 2. One, you should just write common entrance. Everybody just, as you come back, how is school? That's for me. I'm very much grateful. But now, I now know that if somebody now wants to hug me now, I will extend my hands to you, because for me, those times we don't used to say, I don't know if you've seen this video where they need to say, if you want to hug somebody, the cares to contact. So for me,
Oh.
it was for us in our family, it was an unnatural thing. So it was most recently now that my elder brother he's now trying to. So sometimes imagine when your elder brother will not say, you're on a call with your brother and he tells you, okay, Chi, bye, I love you. My face will be like,
Who is this one?
what's it with this? You go come talk am again, okay, bye, I love you, my sister. I go say, I dey hear you, rugged you. I go first come. I will just put the phone on airplane mode and tell him, every time my phone is going off, he's going to see this podcast and he will catch me. He will tell me, say, you always they put your phone for airplane mode. So that's it. So now I'm now learning. It's been very difficult because given what I do as hosting red carpets and all of that, you go for events and most people don't want to shake your hands, they want to hug you, and I would find all means to like dodge it. Most times before I even step into the event, or I start talking to myself like, dear, you are going to now hug people. When you're hugging somebody and you're like this, like, let us just get out of this place. So our background influences us greatly, negatively and positively in different ways. People that grow up with a house that there's no love at all, there's no form of moral kind of love, or even the ones that are very loud, they just grew up in an abusive home. I know of a child, and I'm still talking to the mother now, that change this girl's environment. That's why at some point in your life, you can't remain in that particular environment, because that environment influence, apart from the spiritual side of it, where you now start, where people now say foundational powers. Before we enter foundational powers, your environment, the physical environment, the kind of things that you hear in that environment. That's why there's a particular people I know, they live somewhere in all this yard. So people say different things, including their parents. You use these thoughtful words to these children, and for example, a child will do something and you will say, that's why every time you and goat, you and I get resemblance together. Then the child now you will not hear that child telling the younger sibling that same thing. You and then if that person grows up in that environment, stays there for a very long time, and eventually gets into university and doesn't work on themselves and now gets married, that's a problem. Because any small thing, if it's a lady, any small thing the lady does, they throw that word at any small thing the guy does, the lady throws. So it influences. The choice is up to the individual to decide to change that pattern, because it's a pattern. So it's up to the individual to change it.
But you know that there are some persons that it's very, very hard and very difficult for them to change. But then for me, I feel that's where mindset comes in. Yes, that's where mindset comes in, because that's where you see maybe someone, a guy or a lady that his father got married to more than one wives.
Yes.
I have a friend actually that his dad got married to, I think, 3 or 4 wives or so, and then growing up, his mom is the first wife, so he grew up seeing the quarrels, the disagreement between the first wife, the fights. That's where you start seeing them doing one or two diabolic things to each other. And then he grew up, he didn't go to school. His dad refused sending him to school. His dad, like, the love diverted from him and his siblings, all those kind of. And then he grew up seeing all these kind of things. And yes, he's traumatized, but same way his mindset worked for him. And then his own self training and self awareness was like, oh, he keeps on saying it that my dad got married to more than one wife, but I will not get married to more than one wife. My dad, like, he keeps on saying it whenever you see him, whenever he's talking, he always uses that as a reference. Yes, and then different kind of stories from different kind of backgrounds. So why do you actually think, okay, sorry, and then there is his brother that is just the opposite of him. That is, now I'll even say maybe he's even worse than his father. But they are both same siblings from same mother, same father.
Parents.
Yes, same mother, same father. And then his brother is just. So why do you think it's that way?
And his brother is like the opposite of him. His
Yes.
brother is the gymnastic, the bowler, and that's particular.
Him, he doesn't drink. Like, he saw what drinking did to his dad. He saw what getting married to more than one wife happened. Like, he saw how all of those happened. His siblings, they were separated, they were having issues.
That's such a
You know
very
how,
bad
yes, you know
upbringing.
how it is. But there is his brother, same mother, same father, like same parents, not even his step brother or something. His direct blood sibling, his direct blood brother. It's just the opposite of him. So why do you think it's actually that way?
I think it still boils down to a particular human being. If you see that other guy now that is decent now, I don't know, but I think what works for most people is that that's why I bring it again. At some point, you have to change your environment. You cannot grow in an abusive home and expect not to become abusive. Sometimes changing your environment might not mean changing your house, it might mean changing your circle of the people that you even hang around with. Because if you watch the people that guy that is decent hangs around with, it's not the same with whoever his brother is hanging around with. Those ones would hang around. I know of somebody that used to say that every time they come for a prayer meeting, everybody will be talking. They'll pray. By the time when they finish praying now, he will now tell them that, okay, we have prayed. Let's talk about business. How can we? Everybody will say, no, let's go into prayer. The prayer is the only way. Pray yourself through the angel of God. Manna will come from forever. And the guy said, he now told himself that, is this the kind of people I want to
Not gonna work.
hang around with? We will pray, but we will walk. They said no. He left them. And the moment he left them, the thing is, if you're not ready to even leave a particular unsafe environment, you cannot find change. So until that his brother leaves whoever he's going to hang, first of all, makes like a decision, takes a personal decision with himself and says, okay, I don't like this life. I am not satisfied with this particular kind of living. I want to live differently. That boy is still going to be, before you know it, he will become polygamist. So if he's ready to change, you can't change people. No matter how that his brother pray for him from today till tomorrow, something happened that is very personal.
Yeah.
Imagine when you bring a family member to stay within your house, you're trying to groom this person. You've been hearing stories about this person. She doesn't last wherever she goes to. She has this jump spirit. You now bring her to your house. Okay, let us know what is the problem. And then all of a sudden, she activates that spirit of jumping again, runs out of the house. And you're not like, my dad just stayed on there and he just struck him and he said, my dear, you can't, you see, human beings, we brought that girl so that she can, let us see how to change. But we can't change how. It's inside. It's something that is inside. So it will now take them back to the spiritual side. They will deal with it spiritually. But you can't deal with it spiritually if you're not even ready to live the life alone. If you're dealing with it spiritually, but your mind, God is seeing that this person is a half-baked repentance, you're not even ready to come out yet. You just want to, because okay, maybe you need money now, you can't go the pressure, God go just look from heaven and say, my son, do you need money? Because what is this repentance all of a sudden? Do you need money? So until God has seen like a full repentance coming into the person, then you can now deal with that thing spiritually before you can now check the factors causing that kind of thing. Is it that every time, even as an adult, anytime you come to visit your parents, one person is throwing flour, the other person throwing abusive words, emotional abuse, physical abuse? My dear, pack your load. Go to another place where you'll be sane, first of all. That's it.
Okay, but it's a whole lot. You know that they say that if you actually need something, yes, you pray, but then God should see you at work, and then that prayer comes to manifest. Let me give an instance. For instance, you need money, just like you said, and or maybe you are actually eager to meet Dangote,
Yeah.
for instance, and you're not doing anything, you're not working, you're not going out, you're always at home. Yes. You know that prayer, sorry to say, it can't
It won't
happen.
happen.
Yes. Except maybe you walk, you go out to places, you have a walk, or maybe something that is related or linked, that can actually link or draw Dangote to you.
Yeah.
Then as a prayer, oh God, I need Dangote, align my steps to, you understand, and then that prayer will work. Okay, let me also use this as an instance, just like our previous one of our episodes of podcast glorifying suffering, where we actually said, myself and Priya, we actually said that, okay, it doesn't actually mean that because I suffered to get this thing, then my downliner should also suffer to get it. If I suffer to get it, and then I know that there are possible means or softer means of getting it, so yes, why won't I allow the next person to get it in an easier way? You understand? Yes, there are just like, there are some persons that the change is there,
Yes,
but they're not willing to change. They'll be like, oh, because this is the way my parents did it. This is the way, yes, I want to follow their footsteps. That kind of person, what do you think can be done to that kind of person? Because most times, for someone like me, that things get me pissed off most times, because sometimes you hear someone talk and then you look at the person, you start calculating, reevaluating the age, and then you be like, is this trash actually coming out from this person? Most of them, the change is there, like they are saying it, or maybe they have friends that are willing to help them pass through that process of positive change, but then they are not willing to change. That kind of person, what do you think can actually be done to help that person? Because now it's like we are helping him, not even.
I think the only thing that, if I encounter such a kind of person, the only thing I can do for that person is, if I prayed for you, talk to you, tell you. I saw a video yesterday. This particular girl, she's 18 years. I don't know how she got married to a guy, and somehow they found the guy beating her. People recorded it. Leave the guy. They were pulling this girl away. The girl said, with her eye don't already closely. She said no, that the mother-in-law don't like her, that the mother-in-law will not say that she's the cause of why they said they wanted to arrest the guy. She said, don't arrest him. I say,
Not juju.
people in the comment section were like, this girl dey under spell, wanna check him, because they were pulling her away from the guy. The guy said, two of them, they just behave like people. So this kind of person, I can help the person spiritually by praying for them. But no matter how you pray for somebody, God will look at the person's heart. Unless God just decides that this particular person, how he did with Saul, that you, any way you keep people from you see you, I will pull you out. Unless God has decided with that person. But God is a merciful God, but he doesn't force. That's why in the Bible he said that when you knock, now when he knock, he open. If he knock, tire in person no go open his, there's nothing God can do. He will not force himself on you. So even if I pray for that kind of person, even if you pick the person up, it's like a pig. Even if you pick that person out and take the person to penthouse and say, leave this dirty lifestyle alone, come and see something there. One day you go come by your penthouse, you no go see him. You don't go back job, go dey smoke. Because that's so, until the person is tired, there's a point somebody is going to get to. There's a point such a person will get to that thing when you smoke go dey give am revelation. you go you go smoke and dey see vision like this of him. He go see vision of him future wey if he no leave this thing the next 3 months. Jesus.
Okay, lastly, I know you've said this before, but as a closing remark, I would love to hear from you again. Does one's background determine who he or she becomes, or that person has the ability to rewrite their story?
So the truth is, your background determines who you become, but then it's in your hand to rewrite the story. Like I use myself for an example. I had a very wonderful, and we all know parents how they are, but I have a very loving family, and but love was not expressed in the way that other people do. But there was still love in the family, right? There was still a very good relationship with the family, with everybody. But then I cannot now begin to say that because nobody used to say, they don't used to use this words freely. Nobody they hug themselves for that house. Now she come back, how are you? How are you is a form of care, but the way we want to receive, sometimes you might just be in a very difficult situation and all you want is just a hug, but you never know how to keep mouth open, mouth talk. And I grew up from somewhere that I don't know how to ask. What that does now is you will not know how to ask for help. You won't know how to even ask for the small thing that you need. So I cannot now say now that I am like this, I'll now keep on saying, well, if I go for events, it's, you're going to just shrink yourself and squeeze yourself, and you're not going to. So I think be more open. That's what I'll say. Take the decision first that you're tired of this kind of thing. Otherwise, if your father married 10 wives, you won't notice it. It's something inside the brain. Before you know it, you married one. Small thing that the father is a very tiny pattern, very unnoticeable thing. Is when you now trace back, you now be like, but that time when my father did beat my mother, now because the woman just stop no. Now my wife just stop now, I don't slap her. That's so you might not really notice until things have gotten very bad and it's now difficult to. It can be repairable, but now the process is now you might not even get that person again. You might not get that job again because sometimes it's anger. It's a small thing as your entire family, everybody with anger is everybody. Every time everybody's temperature is fire. Nobody is calm in the family. Therefore, you grew up and you're like that. So I think it's a personal decision. It's in your hand to rewrite your story.
All right. Hey guys, you've all heard from my co-host, and from me, I'll actually say that.
Let me go back to my background.
You're very funny. Okay, for me, I'll actually say that yes, your background has a way of influencing you, but just like I mentioned before, you actually do not need to imprison yourself in that particular kind of pattern.
Yeah.
And two things I would love to talk about before I draw the curtains, because I'd love to talk about self-awareness and healing. Until you become self-aware, until you become aware of your situation, that oh, this is it, and then you actually do not want to go through this particular way or through this particular pattern that maybe someone around you went through or something like that and did not actually scale through or become successful in that. Until you are aware, you tell yourself the truth. I think that's the best way to say it. And you tell yourself the truth that oh, this is bad and this is good.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this path. I want to go through this route that is positive. Then you cannot heal and you cannot move away from that particular pattern. All right. And if this actually resonates with you, there are people around you that actually need to see this. There are people around you that actually need to watch this. So actually just share it to them. Share it out to your friends, your colleagues, your loved ones. You might actually be saving a life. You won't know. Until next time, don't stop becoming, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment on all our social media platforms at DURA'S Voice Podcast.